Hello and welcome to HighLightIt Technique. The first place you'll go after launching the app is you'll go into the tools and you'll go into phase setup. When you go into phase setup, you can address the number of phases that you want, name them and order them in the process. This will take you through that sequence later on through your video. You can also go and add a custom image in the settings that you can then use in the drawings later on down the workflow. So let's insert our first clip. It will take you to your photo reel, and if you click and hold a particular clip, then it will start to show you a preview of the clip that you're going to use. And then you can click on it again to select it, or you could just select it the first time. On the left, you've got a slider that you can move through to navigate through that clip, and you've got frame by frame buttons at the bottom that you can move through. If you'd rather use the other side, you can flip the slider onto the other side, and what you're looking to do here is find the frames for your phased sequence. So if you click on the little target at address, find the next phase, click on the little target, find the next phase, click on the target, and go through to those key points that you wanted to tag. These are going to pass through into our phase analysis elements in the next section. So once you get to that last prescribed setup that you put in, you'll go into the start phase review. So we've already met a couple of the play modes. We can obviously still scrub through the video using the scrub bar. We can frame by frame using the buttons at the bottom. We can jump to the various phases using the now and next buttons to nip through. And we can also press and hold the play button in the bottom right hand corner. And if you hold it, it will play, and it will jump back to the point where you had it paused. So it's like a loop function. If you double click on that play part, you can toggle through the speeds at the playback. This is going to depend on the frame rate of the video rather than the actual number that comes up. Okay, so you can change the speed. So I put that on to 5 and move the part to the top. If I press and hold the play button, it will jump back to the top because that's the frame that I put it to. So there's some video controls that come through. The other thing that will be interesting to look at is if you double click on the video, you can zoom and then hold through, double click to reset. And if you triple click, then you zoom in even more. So you end up with a little bit more kind of detail, and you can move around the video to find various parts that you wanted to look at any stage, and a double click just to reset. So a couple of little video kind of tools in there that are built in just to navigate yourself around. In terms of the actual drawing tools, there's obviously the colors along the top in terms of changing the colors. There is a button that if you toggle it, it will change whether the video stays on for the whole clip or whether it stays on just for the still that you are on. So for example, if I at address wanted to draw a line down the shaft of this golf club, I've put that line on as a reference point. That will only stay on for that still. If I toggle to clip mode and I put on an image, and I'm going to put on the pre-included logo, that if I click and drag, I can resize that in the position that will go and stay on persistently. So if I click to the next phase, we will see that the line disappears, and if I come back, then the line reappears. So there's persistent clips that are clips, and there are clips that are only on that given still. If a clip is on that still, you can always preload some of these images and just toggle the eye to make them visible or invisible as it goes along. So you can preload everything that you wanted to do and turn things on and off as you go through. So there's an undo function that we can just undo that little section. And then if we look through some of the various drawing tools that we've got a vertical line. So if you click and hold and drag, you can drop a vertical line where you want it to drop. The same for a horizontal line. If we change the color to white and I drop that, I can drop that wherever I want on the field of view. And again, I can toggle that on and off if I want to. The circle tool, pretty obvious. If you click, it radiates out from where you're trying to click on the field of view. And if I double click or triple click, it will persist in keeping that image on there. If I undo that last part and click on the circle tool again, I get a slightly different effect where I can draw and it highlights just a particular area. So we've got an ability just to highlight the particular section. The next tool across is the magnifier tool, which if you click and drag just gives you a little bit of a magnification to emphasize a given point. So it's just an option to go in there, but obviously we've already got the zoom part, so it's an optional tool within there. The only last thing to really flag is the flip tool, which I'm going to change the video to give you that working example around what the video tool is there. One last section in the pre-built tools. Obviously, if you had a side-on view, you could put on the clock, and you can click and drag and drop that kind of pre-built tool that is in there for whatever purpose that you want to use it for. So hopefully that gives you an overview of some of the drawing tools that are available within the app. So within this clip, I've put a left-handed golfer in the field of view, and I flipped the slider over in the previous view to be able to show how you can toggle that view across. The important part here is the tool in the middle allows us to flip the video around so that we can essentially watch that view as a right-handed golfer. So often we find that a lot of the videos are right-handed, and it's very hard to interpret how that might look in another way. So flipping that golfer around so that essentially we can draw the same kind of lines that we would have drawn in previous right-handed videos, that we can draw those various shapes. We can zoom in on those shapes, and when we toggle it back, we can see it's red at the moment, which means it's not the right orientation. But if I flip it back, then the drawing tools have also flipped around. So it just gives us a little bit more scope to interpret, reinterpret, do your drawings and flip things around to allow comparisons between golfers that might be left or right-handed along the way. Just a little interesting tool to explore. Finally, within the app, there is also a record clip option. So when you click on it, I'm just pointing it at the floor at the moment. There are a few different options: standard, fast and optimal. These will come down to frame rate and shutter rate, which is a lot of light dependent. So depending on where you are, you can toggle between these three different modes to have an experiment. Depending on how much space, you can toggle to the 0.5 in terms of the zoom view. And there is also a torch on there which you can turn on and zoom in if it makes any difference depending on the light conditions. You obviously press record, you record the clip that you want, you press stop when you want to finish that clip, and you can either go straight into review phases, which takes us in there, or if you want to save it to your photos and then go into review, depending on if you want a permanent archive or not. So there's the record function to have a little play with the given clips that you've got.